Oh, Cheryl and Ray there. Hi, Cheryl.
Okay. Are we ready?
Yeah, this is
great. This is
you
great.
should just sit around.
This is
John's
such a this is a different thing for us. So we're not sure what we're up to.
I was gonna say we usually sit around my dining room table in my house, not around the dining room table at the Opera House.
No, at John's house.
Yep, at John's
We're all
house.
in our sweats and PJs and all this stuff, so it's really
That's right, and I keep falling asleep and stuff like that happens and everything else like that. So, anyway.
It's really nice to see that actually more than I thought would come to this morning because of the horrible weather and everything. So, right in case we don't say it, we really appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Right. That's right. Thank you, and I'm sure Dede thanks you. Even though she had to get up really early today to get to this. So
it's
anyway.
7:30 in California.
That's right. Okay. So I'm going to start the big timer as big as my head right now.
I got it.
Anyway, we're all set. Hi, I'm Dave Dufour.
I'm John Shoup.
I'm Marcia Fulmer, and we are Theatre Geeks.
Hi, welcome to Theatre Geeks, the podcast about community theater and the performing arts. We are in our third year of Theatre Geeks.
Whoa.
And
When they say our relationship wouldn't last.
they said it wouldn't last. Where we are now is taping at the world famous historic Bristol Opera House. We're mixing high tech with maybe low tech.
Very low tech.
And we have a live studio audience. Thank you all for coming. They're all full of brunch and full of baloney probably. But we're going to have you. You're going to have some audience participation and some fun and games and a little bit of conversation. We'd also like to welcome Deirdre Lovejoy, who is coming to us via Skype. Hi, Dede.
Hi, Dave. Hi, all you theater geeks.
There you go. So Dede's going to be, we're going to talk a little bit about what Dede's been up to with regard to television and acting and stage and screen, etc. And also I'd like to welcome Mr. Rick Ellis, who has kindly consented to be our quiz master. Quiz master? What do you mean? We are going to be playing some games today, and in the world-famous game that everybody knows called I Know. Right?
No, you don't.
I know.
No, I don't know. Anyway, we're going to be playing some games, and Rick has pulled together our quiz questions and will be the final arbiter of fairness and equity in the games. There you go.
Wait, don't tell me.
And I know. Shut up. Anyway. We also, I think it's time now to turn things over to our MC for the game show portion, who has very graciously offered to be part of our group today, Mr. Kevin Egelsky. Thanks for coming, Kevin.
Thank you, everybody. We're just going to start off right away with a quick round of what we call Bluff the Listener. Now, we have 3 stories up here. Each one of our geeks have a story they're going to tell. You have to figure out who is telling the true story. And the first one is 079. Who has, get your tickets out.
That's right. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
The person who is 079 gets to come up here.
First person that says they have 079, come on up. Whether you have it or not.
The prizes are fabulous.
The prize, we have a myriad of prizes. 079, someone.
Somebody has to have that.
Oh, okay.
Well, let's give it to somebody next to you. Come on, somebody next to you. Come on.
All right.
Okay.
Come on up. Let's go.
Don't be bashful.
Don't be bashful.
I know he's not, so
We're on a schedule here, so keep it moving.
That's right. Okay, so we're going to read you 3 stories, and you get to choose who is telling the correct story. I don't know who's.
And who's our contestant?
Your name, sir?
Carol Christman.
Carol Christman?
Carol Christman.
Relative?
yes, that is
Relatives
a
are
relative.
allowed to play.
Oh, okay. All right.
Nepotism is not frowned upon.
Nepotism is not frowned upon. But to our listeners out there, if you don't like the nepotism too bad, you'll still learn something, right? Okay. So, anyway. Okay. And the prize is?
And the prize of this one, if you choose the correct story, you get Mark Potuck's voice on your answering machine.
There you go.
Any accent you choose.
Mark Potuck is our local man of 1,000 voices, and he will record a special message in any one of a number of strange voices that you prefer. So anyway, if you win, then we'll have to take your name and address, and so that Mark can contact you after the show. So, what's next, sir?
And now, first one is.
Are you first?
Dave, you're first.
Oh, I have number 3 here.
Oh, you have number 3.
Oh dear, I have number 1.
You should have number 1.
Marcia, please go first.
Okay, I
Tell
will,
us the story,
because I'm number
Marcia.
1. Okay, this is a story about a pseudo-actress/singer whom you may or may not remember. Her name is Pia Zadora. Does not look like anybody is really coming alive with.
It sounds like this is
Anyway.
Dede's mentor.
Isn't that poor? I thought that was the poor man's Charles.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, when she was very young, she was a bit player, and she was very pretty, but she was a dreadful actress. That happens. Anyway, she was very ambitious, and fortunately for her, she had lucked onto an elderly but very wealthy man whom she married. And they decided that it would be better for her career if she got some experience in live theater. So her husband, whose name was, and I have to do this, Shoup. Oh, good, somebody knows. And he backed a road company of The Diary of Anne Frank so that Pia could play Anne. Oh, she was, well, still, that's old for Anne Frank. Okay, anyway, so they started off in Cleveland. And before they were more than 2 or 3 weeks into rehearsal, the director was having a nervous attack because she was really so very bad. She couldn't remember her lines, her delivery was terrible, she missed her entrances. It was just a disaster all the way around. But the director, who was ready to quit, unfortunately believed her when she said, "When the curtain goes up, I will be ready." Because the curtain went up, and she missed her cues, she forgot her lines, it was just a total disaster. And in the first scene, they have a scene where the Nazi soldiers have come into the house. It's right at the end where they're about to discover the Frank family hiding upstairs. And they came in and they were knocking over the furniture and shouting, "Where is she? Where is Anne Frank?" And the audience yelled back, "She's hiding in the attic."
Thank you, Marcia. That is Pia Zadora and Anne Frank.
All right, so that's the first story.
That's your first story. Now your second story,
John, I
coming
believe
in
it's
from
up to
John
you.
Shoup.
Okay, I'm just going to read this right off the paper here because I can't improvise like Marcia. So
Can't lie like I can.
It took me all day to do this. Okay, this is a posthumous publishing snafu. A Long Day's Journey into Night is likely Eugene O'Neill's masterpiece. Okay. The playwright finished the play in 1942, 11 years before his death. For whatever reason, O'Neill decided that he didn't want the play to be published until 25 years after he died. Now, perhaps because of the autobiographical parts of the play, but nobody really knows why, but that may be the reason why, because it was semi-autobiographical. Now, he had the manuscript of the play kept under lock and key in the vault of his publisher. O'Neill even had a contract that was written up that stated that the play was not to be published until 25 years after his death. However, upon his death in 1953, his third wife, Carlotta Monterey, took control of the estate. In 1956, Carlotta arranged for his masterpiece to be published and produced on stage to tremendous critical acclaim. The success that Carlotta brought by having the play published also helped it to win the Pulitzer Prize in 1957.
Thank you, John Shoup. That is the story of the posthumous publishing snafu.
Wasn't Carlotta Monterey, wasn't she W.C. Fields' mistress or something?
No, go. Just go. This is how we get sidetracked and these episodes continue to like 40
and
minutes.
now our third story from Dede.
Our third story. All right. This is called the Book of Uganda, actually. The Book of Mormon creators, Trey Parker and Matt Stone, those of you who know Book of Mormon, they're also the guys that do South Park, traveled to northern Uganda to do research to research ministries while writing the Book of Mormon. They were immediately captivated with the people and the culture. For 2 months, they worked with various organizations, helping to develop the impoverished nation and connect with its people. When they first arrived in the village of Kakindu, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly for all of those of you who are listening in Uganda, the native children outside marveled at the two men. But moments later, they pounced on the tall strangers, welcoming them with hugs. It was a greeting Parker said he'll never forget. During that time in Kakindu, they helped build an athletic field and schools in the village. They also reached out to the Karamojong people of the Masese community. These are the poorest of the poor. They're losing their children to malnutrition and starvation at an astounding rate. There they helped start a feeding program for the community and nourishing over 1,600 children per week. They filled their days helping the people of Uganda, all the while working on a draft of what would become the Tony Award-winning musical, The Book of Mormon.
Thank you, Dave. And there you have it, the Book of Uganda.
There you go.
Thank you. So now, Carol, you get to choose. Which of the stories do you believe is true? Marcia's
I
story?
don't believe Marcia.
You do not believe Marcia's story? He is Adora as Anne Frank, okay?
I'm sure.
Well, then we'll just get rid of that one on here. All right, now, you are left with the
I don't think my nephew was telling the truth either, so I'll pick number 3.
You do not believe that, so you picked the Book of Uganda.
Right.
Book of Uganda.
I'm sorry, Carol, that is incorrect. Your
My nephew.
nephew was telling the truth
For once.
of the publishing staff.
All right.
Well, mine was just too believable.
Well, to be perfectly honest, I didn't know. So there you go. Thank you, Rick, for teaching me something today.
Thank you for playing, Carol.
Thank you, Carol.
All right.
Does he get one of the parting gifts down here?
You want to?
Yeah.
I think you should take a parting gift.
Yes.
Parting gift. There you go.
Not that we're trying to get
Any
rid of it.
any of these wonderful properties from our prop room?
We have a pipe, we have a sword, and we have a toy gun.
That's right.
A coffee pot.
I would be really careful about arming the audience.
Well, okay, then take the pipe.
Okay.
All right. He took the Meerschaum bubble pipe.
The real Mirjong pipe.
Yeah, it's a real Meerschaum pipe?
Yeah, I
thought it was a bubble
yeah,
pipe.
no, I think I bought that at Fun FX. Okay.
Well, the last time I saw you, Dede, you were about 5 months pregnant on television, and that was a kind of a shockaroo. And but you've been busy lately, right? Can you tell us a little bit of what you've been up to?
I've been managing to keep busy. It's a little strange talking with earbuds, so I have to adjust. My first episode of Body Proof just aired, and I'm going back next week to start my second. Apparently, I'm going to be having a baby shower. I don't know if I'm going to actually be giving birth. I've been told that if this is very fun. I mean, to pretend to give birth.
Acting.
If the show gets picked up for another season, apparently it'll be the longest pregnancy on record, and that will happen at the beginning of next season. But for now, I'm going back next week to start doing that.
You're frozen.
She froze.
She froze.
She froze.
Marta?
There you go. Okay,
And,
now you're back. You froze for a second there.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't see the audience giving me the
I didn't know that.
They weren't. We weren't sure at first. We thought maybe it was just catatonia. And
It very well could might have been.
yeah.
Doing a little independent film in Florida in a couple of weeks, and starting to do some writing, and that's about it for now. But hopefully I will continue to keep busy.
When was
That's what I got.
when was the last stage work you did?
Oh,
Oh, too long ago.
Yeah.
The last play I did was actually many years ago, which is something I need to rectify and will rectify very soon. And that was when I did the rep at the Old Globe. I played Lady Macbeth, and Oh, sorry. Oh,
You're not in the theater. It's okay.
That's all right.
It's okay.
We'll send your voice outside to turn around 3 times.
As I say, get outside,
Yeah, you have to turn around 3 times, I guess.
spit over your shoulder or something.
Spit over your shoulder. Oh, that's good.
Okay.
oh, what?
She's spinning and spinning.
And getting tangled in her earbud.
There you go. She's strangling herself with her earbuds.
I just got to play Comedy of Errors, and then I did The Sisters Rosenzweig, and that was the last theater I did. In fact, last night I attended a production of Jackie Hoffman's show. Jackie Hoffman is a Broadway actress who was most recently in The Addams Family for a couple of years, and before that she was in Hairspray for a couple of years, and before that she was in Chicago. And she brought her show out here to Los Angeles, and I got to see her. I hadn't seen her since we did The Sisters Rosenzweig, and it's kind of interesting. It was an opening night at a theater in Los Angeles, and there were probably 70 people there. It's not a big theater town, so more support would come at an opening of an Outdoor Civic Theater production, I would imagine. It's an interesting beast out here. So anyway, that's the last time I actually acted in the show on the stage.
Okay. So you want to get back to that. You say you want to rectify that. That's
Yes.
keeping connected to the stage is important to you?
Absolutely. I have, I imagine come about July, I probably will be relocating to New York City because I'm going to have a big birthday this year. And
Well, that one.
Yeah.
25?
Yeah,
25.
21? Yeah, you're going to be able to drink now? Yeah.
So my intention is to move back to New York so that I can sort of switch my concentration from television to the theater. However, when I left New York like 10 years ago, there were only 3 television shows shooting there at that time, and they pretty much all had Law and Order in the title. And now there are over 22 television shows that are being shot in New York City. So it's not the black and white contrast that used to be in terms of, you have to be in Los Angeles to do television or film work. I think I might be able to swing both there a little more easily.
What is
So that's a good thing.
is the shift? Why the shift to New York? Just because there's more New York stories, or is it the cost issue?
No, it's called tax breaks. In fact, California has lost a huge amount of production work to other cities. For example, Michigan is getting tons and tons of film work. Pittsburgh, tons and tons of television and film work. Chicago is going crazy with television work. These states have realized that if they give the kind of if they give really good tax incentives to these production companies, they can attract, large numbers of production companies and work. And California, especially Los Angeles, is sort of farming out all the work. It's pretty rare if you can get a show that actually shoots here. It's not going to North Carolina or New Orleans or Vancouver or anywhere else. So yeah.
Dede, I've talked to other professional actors who say that they get away from the theater because they want to go, and they don't like that day-to-day consistency or trying to create new every day. Why do you want to go back towards theater? Does that make sense?
John, will you repeat the question? We had a little bit of a technical glitch.
Sure. I've talked to other professional actors who like the idea, who started in theater, but they specifically wanted to go to television or movies because they didn't like the idea of having to create the character every day, the same script every day. They like the idea of the moving storyline, the fear factor of not having to be on stage in front of 1,000 people, kind of issue with them. So they went one direction. Why do you want to go back towards theater? What is the drawback to theater?
Well, I think my love for the theater came from the very place that you're sitting in. And it's just an entirely different experience to perform in front of a live audience. And when you add on top of that, you actually get to take the journey of a play every single day. It's a much more satisfying experience. Now, I don't know what professional actors you've been talking to, John, but I mean, my goodness, it's a rare opportunity if you actually get to perform in front of 1,000 people. You know. It's a rare opportunity if you have the opportunity to get bored. You know, if you actually hit in a show that's going to run long enough for you to get bored. That's kind of an interesting situation. I've been there. I did a show on Broadway that I did a national tour of, and by the end of that 18 months, I was sick of 6 degrees of separation. But I think that's probably the exception rather than the rule. And for me, because I have found that I luckily can I luckily have the opportunities in the theater and in this world of television. I have the luxury of saying which one makes me is more fulfilling. Now, the caveat to that is the fulfilling part doesn't pay you a lot of money. And the only way to really make a living as an actor is to be in a Broadway show all the time, which is not necessarily so realistic. So you have to be able to figure out how you're going to survive financially and make a career in the theater fiscally viable, and that's something that that is a trickier beast, I think.
Have you ever been in a play you think you could have done forever?
Forever's a long.
Well, you said you were pretty sick of 6 degrees of separation. Have you been in any shows that you thought other ones that you wish you could have
Sure.
gone 18 months, 2 years?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The Scottish play, lots of Shakespeare is the kind of, that kind of material reveals itself nightly in myriad ways, and it really never gets dull in my experience. I also did a play a number of years ago that won the Pulitzer Prize called How We Learn to Drive. And that play I found to be such an incredible experience, and it was emotionally incredibly draining, but for some reason it really spoke to me, and I think I could have done that one for a very, very long time. In fact, I wound up doing 2 productions of it, one in New York and one in Washington, D.C. And certainly I can't say that the word boredom would have ever crossed my mind.
Yeah.
And you didn't feel that way about six degrees of separation, though, when you started, I bet.
Well, no, and I'm being slightly flipped. That play is fantastic. It's just it's also a different beast when you're on the road.
Sure.
You know, when you're on the road with a play, and you also, in addition to the experience of the play, you're away from all things familiar, and it's sort of a separate experience because you don't come home to your own home every night. You don't have your creature comforts that are part of your life necessarily as a steady diet. So, there are lots of other factors that can contribute to that. I should retract that comment in case John there is a Theatre Geeks fan.
He will be when he finds out that you're on.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay, hey, we are, Dede's going to stay with us. We're actually taping several episodes here today at the Opera House, so Dede's going to stick with us. But now it's time for...
A limerick!
A limerick! Hey! This is also audience participation.
This is audience participation. It's very simple. We've got 3 limericks, and you'll get to complete the limericks for us. And if you get correct, if you complete 2 of them correctly, 2 of the 3, you get a famed Bristol Opera House archive gift.
Yes. Our archives are vast.
Vast.
Yeah.
So everybody has their tickets. Number 70.
Oh,
Cheryl, come on up.
he'll get it.
Rick, you want to go down there with the microphone for us?
I don't think Cheryl needs a microphone.
Oh,
I don't need a mic.
That's what I
to be able to hear you on the podcast.
Just point it in her general direction. All right.
Okay, Cheryl, here's your first limerick.
I'll try this quietly.
Notre Dame does his shows every year. His words fill young actors with fear. With these thous and those, iambic pentameter prose, it's the beast of the bard will... Shakespeare.
Whoa, I almost thought you didn't have it.
These are really tough.
Okay,
Yeah, okay.
No, and I too love the Scottish play.
Here's your second one, Cheryl. He gave us Joe Keller the killer, but Willie Loman's life was no thriller. He wrote of Salem's woe and even married Monroe. It's a view from Arthur Miller. Yes, that is correct. Okay, and your third one is Funny Mears was mostly good fare, and Rabbit Hole was definitely rare. Wonder of the World was a wreck. Who knew he wrote Shrek? It's the elusive David Lindsay.
Mears!
Mears! No, it is Albert. Yes. Thank you, Dede. Thank you for your help.
I think we should be able to confer with Dede.
I think we can confirm with Dede.
Cheryl had that with the first two, eh?
All right.
Cheryl, you had it with the first two.
It doesn't do it in the woods. Or it does do it in the woods.
Bears?
Bears. There you go. It does do it.
Bear does it in the woods.
All right.
I saw those two.
Cheryl,
Select your parting gift.
Please do.
Or your
Yeah.
gift.
Oh, yeah.
Your special prize from the archives.
Oh, my God. It's going to take a dangerous weapon.
Oh.
Oh, of course.
And there you go. Masks of
Right.
comedy and tragedy, and they fall apart.
Here I am,
easily.
Dede.
There you go. Thank you very much. Thanks to Cheryl.
Thanks, Cheryl.
Okay. Okay, hey, it is time for us to wrap up this episode of Theatre Geeks. A few little notes for you. Thanks so much for being with us, Dede, and we'll see you next time, which will be in just a couple of minutes, obviously. But we just remind you that you can listen to Theatre Geeks on iTunes. If you have an iPhone, get yourself the Stitcher app. It's free, and it's Stitcher is called Stitcher Smart Radio. It gives you the latest episodes of probably 5,000 or 6,000 different podcasts, including Theatre Geeks. You can find us on the Blueberry Network and also listen to the podcast at our website as well. Any other parting comments here? No?
I'm really upset that they didn't believe me.
They didn't believe you? Oh, I see.
Bad. I'm
Normally,
going to have to go back to the trenches and learn all over again.
normally we talk about the things that you can buy at the Theatre Geeks website.
Oh, that's true, that's true. You can also go to the Theatre Geeks website where you can find the Theatre Geeks store at www.theatregeeks.store, where we have hats, cups, mugs,
And
Teddy bears.
teddy bears.
Teddy bears.
and
Underwear.
underwear that's
Fun to wear.
I'm going to make them wear it someday, and then they'll stop pushing it.
you ain't gonna catch me modeling that.
Yeah,
That's for sure, that's for sure. Anyway, thanks for joining us. I'm Dave Dufour.
I'm John Shoup.
I'm Marcia Fulmer, and we are Theatre Geeks.